What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Future Knight Eric here, back with another deck profile, another winning deck profile. And let me tell you, this deck profile is probably my favorite deck that I've ever had the opportunity to profile on the channel. Playing obviously the deck that everybody's come to know me by, being Burning Abyss, but with a little bit of a new take, which I'm sure you can see from this top card on the extra deck. Very difficult deck to get together, so this will include many shout outs to a lot of people who have helped me to get this together. And yeah, not much else to say about that. It's Burning Abyss with the twist. Before we get into it though, I do want to go through my matchups from yesterday's locals. I did go to another local today at Nexus and I didn't do too well, just drawing very strange hands and not being able to play. But yesterday at AI Fest, which is come to be known as my stomping grounds, I did very well. Round one I went up against my good friend Dom against True Dracos, his winning deck profile from a couple of weeks ago, which I am yet to post, but I will be posting soon. Games went how you'd think. I just outgrounded him. When you go up against Draco, you're pretty much playing caveman Yu-Gi-Oh at that point. You're just poking and making sure they don't get bodies in back row. So that was a 2-0. Round 2 was against Yasha playing Virtual World. He lost pretty much to bad hands as well as to me drawing Lancia. He did grab a game off of me, however I could have won that game. I misplayed horribly. He called by the grave my Sir, and I went tour guide into Sir, and I went into Dante, detached the Sir to bring back a second Dante, and I would have had enough damage on board. But I forgot that call by the grave lasts 2 turns. If I'd summoned Lubick, Lubick off of the tour guide and detached the Lubick, I could have summoned any beer in my hand and I would have had game as well. So misplay on my side. But that was one game I dropped against him. Otherwise, yeah, Lancia and Bricks, unfortunately, on his end. Round 3 was against my very good friend Herbert, playing dinosaurs with a little bit of a scrap engine. I don't believe it was the full thing. I think it was just maybe a 1 or 2 of Scrap Raptor to get those pops going. And let me tell you, that deck is terrifying. That is probably my worst matchup. I lost against dinos today, especially going second dinos. Very strong deck. Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm, very strong cards against the deck, very much like this. But yeah, our games were very intense. We actually went into sort of time. We had a little bit of extra time, and I managed to secure the win. But it was a very difficult game, very tense, but it was enjoyable nonetheless. And he's such an exceptional player. He won, I believe, a week ago, last week's locals with dinos, which is very impressive. But I will probably getting a profile from him when he's settled on his scrap build. Anyway, then round 4 was against Chad playing Blue Eyes White Dragon Link with a little invoked Dogmatika engine. It was kind of a bit of a mixture of everything, right? An engine deck, as you will. And yeah, it just went fairly well. I was just able to outgrind him. I was able to get rid of his normal summons, which I know in Blue Eyes is very strong, because Blue Eyes doesn't need to normal summon, but when it does, it's very important. And yeah, just get the dub from there. I 2-0'd Chad. And then in the finals, I was up against Zombies. This time not Andrew, however. This was against Matthew playing Zombies. Very scary deck, Super Poly being a very powerful card in that deck, and the deck just being insane in general. Very powerful rogue deck, I believe, in pretty much every format that it can play in. And yeah, I just managed to 2-0 him. Our second game was very strange. I didn't see my Dogmatika engine. I didn't see the Burning Abyss engine. I ended up just killing him with side deck cards, and it was very strange. But yeah, that's pretty much the matchups. I went 5-0, winning this beautiful Lightning Overdrive mat, as well as a field center. These will both be given away, not in this video, however. They will be given away in a future video, an unboxing of Lightning Overdrive, which should be coming out next week sometime. So these, as well as some other Lightning Drive goodies, will be given away in a video next week, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, not much else to say. We can get right into the deck profile, explain a little bit of the decisions I've made deck building wise, and I think I've come together with a pretty mean build. I must say I'm very happy. Going into the tournament yesterday, I was not arrogant. I think arrogant closer to the end, but I think I was very confident. I was very calm, collected. I knew I could win in that type of environment, so it ended up being a very cool day. Right, getting into the deck profile, we of course play the one and only triple tour guide. This is still a staple in the deck. Obviously we're playing the Dogmatika engine now, but we have to always make space for our beautiful girls. Best card in the deck, and there are certain parts of her that are becoming more and more relevant and powerful in the deck, such as her attack only being 1,000, and also the summoning from hand is actually becoming very relevant in a lot of duels that I'm playing in recently. So that's very cool. You have to play 3. However, what we don't play 3 of anymore is Rhino. We play 2. Now, I am thinking of bumping this back up to 3 because it technically is any Burning Abyss card. However, it's not any Burning Abyss card. It cannot special summon itself from its hand, from my hand. So it becomes a little bit awkward when you draw Tour Guide and Rhino, or when you draw 2 Rhinos. It becomes a little bit awkward how to play. Like, do you normal summon it? Do you set it? Like, what do you end up doing? So rather, you want to keep the Burning Abyss count high, because like I said, we have to cut it down a little bit for the Dogmatika package. So you'd rather keep the BA names high and cut a Fiendish Rhino Warrior, because the BA names, worst case scenario, are still just special summoning them and going into Dante's. But yeah, so this is the ratio I'm playing at the moment. I don't think I would change it. If I were to change it, I'll show you what I would cut, but for now I'm very happy with these ratios. Then for the BA monsters, we're playing triple Scum. I did have this at 2, but this card literally gets you into the Burning Abyss engine, which is technically your win con. The Dogmatika package isn't really a win con, it's more of a stall to get to your BA engine. And also very relevant is the attack is under 1,000. I'm sure for those of you who know your link cards what I'm referring to, but I'll get more into that in the extra deck. We're playing 3 Graph. Obviously this is the other normal summon, Burning Abyss normal summon. Also very relevant, his attack is only 1,000. Very convenient, I'd say. We are playing 2 Sir. Still only 2 Sir. It only hurt me once, and it was today, not having the second Sir. I actually had a Sir in my hand and then I milled the second Sir, and it was a bit rough, and that was off a normal summon of a tour guide, so I did have the Graph engrave trying to trigger. We're playing 2 Farfa. I did want to cut this down to 1 for a different name. Like I said, having the names is very important, but Farfa being one of the best disruptions in the deck, I think it still has to be played at 2. We're playing 1 Libic. I'm a very big fan of this card. However, because of the Dogmatika engine, we did have to cut, and Libic was definitely on the chopping board. Then we're playing 1 Calcab, and finally 1 Alec. So that's pretty much the Burning Abyss engine, along with obviously the Rhinos and the tour guides. And I've pointed out the little theme going on with the 1,000 attacks, which is very cool. But yeah, that's it for the Burning Abyss engine. You all know what they do, I'd hope. And then we are playing obviously the 2 Burning Abyss monsters that are not Burning Abyss monsters, Absolute King Backjack and Sea Archiver. Even though we're playing not less traps, we're playing like 1 or 2 less traps than we normally do. So Backjack is not as powerful as it used to be, but just being able to stack your deck and know what you're drawing into next, especially with this deck having such good top decks now, this is very powerful. And in Sea Archiver, I'm still an advocate for this card. This card allows OTKs with a tour guide and any special in hand, and now we have other specials, so this is actually very powerful in this deck, I feel. Yeah, I would not cut it. I tried Edge Gems for a little bit. Only when I was starting to mess around with Dragoons was that really good. But the thing is, Edgem still needs a card in hand. This doesn't need anything else. It just needs a monster summon to a link zone, which is what you're doing all the time. So yeah. Then the absolute best thing that could have ever happened to this deck. We're playing Dogmatika Ecclesia and we're playing Fleur de Lis. So these are insane. The idea behind the deck was I didn't want to play 3 waifus in the form of tour guide. I wanted to play 6. So we ended up getting the Dogmatika package. This huge shout outs to Pranav for hooking me up with these. These are absolutely stunning, very powerful cards. And then huge shout out, like I said, this video will have a lot of shout outs to Roloff for letting me use his 3 Nadir servants while mine are still in the UK, to the other shout outs, Adam, who hooked me up with 3 servants that side in the UK. So I'm very much a person who's against borrowing cards. I feel like if you borrow cards, you're winning for someone else because you're not winning with your own cards. But because I have purchased 3 Nadir servants and they're just not here, I thought I could get away with it and be cheeky and borrow some servants for the deck. Not much to say about this engine. Obviously, this is being splashed into everything left, right, and center. This isn't the first time it's being splashed, I believe, on a profile on YouTube in Burning Abyss. However, I do believe, and I don't mean to have a big head, this is definitely the best variant of the Burning Abyss Dogmatika hybrid deck. The ratios that I've come up with, the math that I've done, the testing that I've done, and drawing from previous deck profiles, this is definitely probably the strongest version of the deck. But yeah, Nadir Servant, absolutely insane card. Top decking this is wild. Fleur de Lis being a effect veiler / imperm that doesn't target, insane. Buffing them permanently. I actually didn't know the permanent buff was a thing. I found that out today. And then Ecclesia obviously being just a stunning card. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Dogmatika package, and obviously the punishments, which we'll get to in the trap portion of the deck. We are playing, so this deck could have been budget. Well, not really, but it's definitely not budget now. Shout outs to Cam in Bloemfontein for trading me and hooking me up with these. I traded him my Starlight Alpha to get a hold of these Forbidden Droplets. In a lot of decks, Dark Ruler is just better because you don't have to give up card advantage in the form of your hand to negate your opponent's board. However, in Burning Abyss, all the Burning Abyss monsters, and Rhino, and Backtrack, and Sea Archiver, they all trigger in the grave. So I thought to myself, having a quick play Dark Ruler that actually gives you advantage in the deck is insane. So that's pretty much the logic behind it. Also, the halving attack is very relevant because oftentimes your Dogmatika punishment can't get over some big monsters, so you need to like halve the attack and then you can punishment, and it works out quite well. Also, being a quick play, you can set it and then use it during your opponent's turn, which is an awesome piece of disruption. This card is insane. It definitely, having played it now, it definitely deserves its price point. I am glad it's getting a reprint though, but I'm also glad that I have my playsets and I don't have to worry about picking up a playset. And then we play the one called by the grave, or technically the fourth. And Nadir Servant, the idea behind playing the Dogmatika engine is because they technically serve as Called by the Graves. The Burning Abyss engine, Tour Guide, Normal Summon, you usually end on 2 disruptions in the form of Beatrice and Unicorn, or IP into Unicorn. The thing with the Dogmatika is, if they disrupt you at any point in your combo, your Burning Abyss combo, you can then move with Nadir Servant or even Ecclesia into the Dogmatika engine, and you can still end on 1 to 2 disruptions of the same kind of disruption in the form of Fleur de Lis and Punishment popping a card. Sometimes Punishment even getting 2 disruptions. So that was that idea, and then I was thinking of, instead of picking up the Dogmatika engine, picking up Prosperities, because Prosperities also allows you to sort of dig through your deck and get to cards that help you play through those hand traps. But the extra deck in Burning Abyss I feel is so important, and giving up like a lot of cards to dig really deep I wasn't very comfortable with. So I thought to myself, what's a card that can give you the same amount of advantage as Pot of Prosperity without having to, you know, take up your entire extra deck or having to get rid of 6 of your extra deck? And the idea was Nadia's Servant. But yeah, so that's the idea. We still play the Call by the Grave. It's obviously an insane card. You have to play it. If it was at 3, we'd play it at 3. We play 3 Solemn Strike. This deck sets up a lot of disruption, but not a lot of negation, which, you know, in certain matchups, disruption is king, but in other matchups, negation is king. So you have to play the Solemn Strikes. We play, so our toolbox, basically 2 Ice Dragon's Prison, 2 Dogmatika Punishment. I am thinking, if you want to put in the 3rd Rhino, cut a second Dogmatika Punishment, and then I'll show you what to cut in the extra. We are playing 2 Dynamiscus, probably my favorite card, trap card ever, period. This card I might actually have to play 3, but for now we're playing 2 Heavy Storm Dusters. If the meta where I play was very combo, like build a board with monsters heavy, I would switch these out for torrentials, but because my locals is very back row heavy, the Heavy Storm Duster is definitely coming clutch. We play the 2 Fiend Grievings, and then of course we play the 1 Trap Trick. So the Trap Trick, this goes shout outs to Byron for hooking me up or telling me about this concept. The fact that, you know, playing a lot of Trap Tricks means you're actually thinning your deck of traps and you're losing win cons, whereas playing 1 Trap Trick means that you have access to any one of your traps. So it's almost like a third of every single trap, but if you're running 3 Trap Trick, you're actually running less. It's kind of like the way he justified it way better than I just have. But the 1 Trap Trick is very, very powerful. It just gets you access to the trap that you need in that instance. But the traps that you play should be good enough to carry you so that you don't need Trap Trick. But yeah, that's the toolbox. And that's the entire deck. 46 cards, I believe. The only thing I would change, like I said, was maybe 1 punishment for a Rhino, and then I might even take out the Trap Trick just to get it to a clean 45. Then getting into the extra deck. So we play the Dogmatika, I'd say engine, I guess. It's Titanclad, Ash Dragon, and then 2 Elder Entity Entus. So the Elder Entity Entus, if you cut a second punishment, you cut the second Entus, because you don't need the targets as much. But the synergy with Nadia's Servant and the Burning Abyss cards is absolutely insane. Dumping Dante's to be able to add back, you know, your Burning Abyss cards. You know, you can't really search off that, but I'm saying like punishments, you know, Alistair's got 1,000. There's a lot of cards that have only 1,000 attack points, so you can dump your Dantes, you can dump Cherubinis. So I mean the synergy is just insane. But yeah, then I would cut an Entus, but Entus is obviously the best one. I did play the Pegasus for a while, but because the Pegasus is reactive, you have to respond to the destruction of one of your cards. It felt a little bit weak. I would rather just get the pop off Entus straight away instead of waiting. And then Titanclad is just scam for Dogmatika cards, which is quite cool. In the end phase, searching 2 cards is insane. The amount of advantage you get in this deck is crazy. You always have 3 to 4 cards in hand and your board is always stacked. We're playing Beatrice and then double Dante. So this is where it gets sad. You don't play purple Dante, unfortunately. So if I cut the 1 Entus, I would put in, so these are the honorable mentions, I'd put in either an Appaloosa or a Dante. Now the reason for the Appaloosa is there was many times I found myself in that situation where you've got Unicorn and Dante, or like Unicorn and a Link Spider from your Dynamiscus because you brought back Dynamiscus, and like you can't really go into anything. You'll see now in the rest of the extra deck. So I do think Appaloosa is really, really good to go in, or Pilgrim of the Burning Abyss. But again, Pilgrim is one of those, not win more, but it's like you have to get them to destroy the Beatrice, and 9 out of 10 times they don't do that, because even Beatrice summoning a normal Dante puts a lot of pressure on them, because Dante just recurs the cards and the next turn you can go off. But yeah, these are the honorable mentions to replace the Entus if you cut the second punishment. Then we also play the Zeus package, so it's 1 Zeus, 1 Downed, 1 Fortune Tune. I'm also thinking about cutting the Fortune Tune. I didn't summon it the whole day today or yesterday, and in the games where I lost, it wouldn't have made a difference, and in the games that I won, I didn't need it. So I'm thinking of cutting Fortune Tune. I would never cut the down it though, just because of the Sir Dante loop, bringing it back with no materials. You need that second material to get your Zeus live. There was a point on Saturday, so yesterday, where I did need a second Zeus, but I still won that game regardless. But I think, no, I didn't. I won that match, but the game where I needed the second Zeus, I lost because I needed the second Zeus. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Zeus package. Then we play Borrel Sword. You can probably cut this, you don't really need it, but I'm very stubborn and this is one of my favorite cards, so I play it. We play the Unicorn and the IP. Those are obviously for, you know, the combo. We play the Cherry Beanie, which goes hand in hand with the Borrel Sword for the OTK, and then we play probably the two best cards in the extra deck, Almirage and Link Spider. Yes, you heard me right. So this is where the idea to pick up the Dogmatikas came from. It came from these two guys. You go normal summon Tour Guide, they go Ash, Vela, Imperm. Okay, Gamma would ruin this whole idea, but they stop it, right? You link it to Almirage, you activate Nadia's Servant. You add Ecclesia and you can go off in your Dogmatika package, right? Same thing with Nibiru. You're doing your combo, you end on your Beatrice IP, they nib you. You link it into Link Spider, activate Nadia's Servant. Special Ecclesia, go off. So these are like just more copies of Called by the Grave, essentially. Yes, it does take up 2 spots, and it's for, I guess this one is definitely more versatile because in the hand traps I mentioned there's 3 of them, and it also, you know, Borrelode Savage doesn't destroy, so there's negates like that where this is probably more useful. Also, you could always just normal Scarm, link it into Almirage, and then go into your Dogmatika package if you didn't draw 2 BAs, or you can normal a Graph, link it into Almirage, summon a Scarm, Scarm kills itself, and then you can then search Tour Guide in the end phase, go into your Dogmatika package. So the Almirage is definitely more versatile in this deck. The Link Spider is a little bit more specific. The only time you really use it is with a Nib token or with a Dynamiscus. However, this does come up against the Dino matchup because they give you a token. So these are just like really versatile cards that, you know, make the deck sort of merge together, Dogmatika and BA. I never thought I'd say a little bunny and a spider would be doing that, but it's because of these cards that I thought this variant was very, very strong. And, well, it is very, very strong. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the extra deck. Like I said, there are a few changes I'd make, but it is so tight. It's actually ridiculous. Then we are playing the same package I've always played, which is Pankatops and 2 Alpha the Master of the Beasts. Not much to say there. Some of my favorite cards. I love Alpha. I stand by Alpha. This breaks so many boards just by itself. It's crazy. 3 Lancia. I wish I could main deck this, but again, you know, space. I could play 50 cards, but then your chances of seeing Tour Guide and Nadia are a lot less. We play Triple Droll. This is sort of mandatory now, just for the Invoke Shadol Dogmatika matchup, which I still think is the best deck of the format, even though I'm playing the best deck of the format. But I think this is necessary, especially with Drytron coming back with all the new supports in Lightning Overdrive. Then we play 3 Cosmic. These probably should be twins, but I don't like the discard. You're discarding for droplets. You don't need to discard more. And then finally, we play the 3 Solemn Judgment for going first. But yep, that's pretty much the deck profile. Nothing crazy in the side, nothing, you know, mind-blowing. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. This is a deck I've been working very hard on to get to a point where I enjoy it and I enjoy playing it. And I must say, this is probably the best or the most fun version of Burning Abyss I've played in a very long time. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, keep an eye out for the Lightning Overdrive opening, where this mat, the field sensor, as well as some other stuff you'll have to wait and see, will be given away in those videos. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Future Knight signing out.